Don't move. Turn your fantasy football into reality. Here's CJ.
Who doesn't like a good trivia question? I'm all into it. I love it, right? I've got one here that was sent in by a random viewer, which I think is great, right? How many all-time league records have been set by rookies in the modern era of sport? Any sport, by a rookie, an all-time record. I like that. And he threw out the name Tony Esposito. Now, Tony Esposito, hockey goaltender, Hall of Famer, 1969-70 with Chicago. That's over 50 years ago. 63 games, 15 shutouts. Nobody has done that since. Not anybody. And it's not a rookie record. It's a league record. And that's what we're talking about here. So in the National Football League, Adrian Peterson, 296 yards in a single game. No rookie running back, no running back has run for 300, not even King Henry. He had 253 in the second half of that game. I think, yeah, it was in November. That's right, too. It's up on the screen now. November the 4th, 2007, the Vikings versus the Chargers. 296, that's a lot. As a rookie, oh my gosh. So we're looking for a third one, and we found a third one. So at the end of the show, I'm going to tell you who the third one is. And I don't think this record's ever going to be broken. This record is like 70 years old. It's getting close anyway. So give us a moment. We'll be right back with how to decide between two players in your draft. Maestro, please. I do like that music. So here's a good one from training camp the other day, or not training camp, but at the New York Jets facility, a reporter kind of was having fun with McCole Hardman, who of course signed there after playing with Kansas City for all those years. He said, "Hey, who's your worst quarterback you've ever played with?" His choice is Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. He laughed and walked away. It was beautiful. It was funny. It made me laugh anyway. Another question that was thrown out in the last little while here was, is JUJU an upgrade from MEYERS in New England for fantasy football purposes? Well, that's an interesting question. In my world, they're about the same for fantasy football, although JUJU can usually be counted on for more touchdowns. MEYERS, for the longest time, wasn't exactly a touchdown hog. Let's just put it that way. But he's in Las Vegas now, and I think he'll get an uptick in that department. In New England, though, they've changed their offensive coordinator to an actual offensive coordinator. Last year, they had a defensive guy running the offense. That made no sense. So you're going to see an uptick in their receivers this year. I'm pretty sure of it. And Mac Jones, I think, is going to have a better year than he had last year, too. So I don't think the New England wide receivers are great, but I think JUJU's a good one to have on your team. And I think if I was to pick between the two, I don't know that I could. If I had JUJU, this is how I usually break those ties, right? If I had JUJU and you offered me MEYERS, I don't think I would take the trade. Now, if I had MEYERS and you offered me JUJU, I might take that trade. But why make a trade on two guys you think are the same? So if you were going to offer me someone for JUJU or MEYERS, you would have to throw in maybe a draft pick or something and make it my advantage to trade my player. So maybe it's an overplay or an overpay, but sometimes you have to overpay to get the player that you want in fantasy football. Now, I do the same thing in drafts. So the bigger draft issue is you've got two players sitting in front of you there, and it's your turn to pick. You're on the clock, and you're trying to decide between the two. My first instinct is just go with your gut. My second one is if your gut tells you you just can't decide between the two, do the same thing. Imagine you already have one of them, and the other one is being offered you on trade. And it tends to work. Now, I was sent a question here the other day by a fellow in California who's in the middle of a draft, but he has a little bit bigger question than that. He says, when you have multiple players to pick, what do you do? I'm looking at 4 wide receivers. I'm in a dynasty startup, PPR, and I'm looking at Olave, St. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Gerald Wilson of the Jets. Everyone's telling me I should take Wilson. Well, as soon as he asked me the question, the very first thing that I threw out at him was take St. Brown. No, I have no idea. I've got no skin in the game. And this was like a 2-second go with the gut, threw it out there at him. He's been thinking about this all day. And all day the creepies are getting in there and the creepies are going nuts. And the creepies are saying, well, you should take this guy and you shouldn't take that guy. And oh, but here's the thing. Those 4 receivers, they're all good. I'll take any of them. So in that situation, what I might do is contact the guys who are drafting behind me. Maybe one of them will step up and pay a big price to get that pick and take Wilson, leaving you with a shorter choice. So if you could trade back 2 or 3 spots, that's actually better. But here's what happens. Let's just say you take St. Brown, you take Wilson, whoever you take. It doesn't matter who you take. Because as soon as you select your guy, as soon as that guy is now in your possession, the mind starts to create that possession. He's mine, and I'm proud to have him. And the next thing you know, you're on Twitter telling everybody what a great pick you just made, and or a trade, but whatever. But now that you've got your guy, you can now roster bait. You can tell everybody how wonderful your team is now because you have that guy. And that's exactly what's going to happen. All that stress and anxiety before the pick goes away as soon as you make the pick. I'm CJ now. Here's the, oh yes, the answer. That trivia question, just a second here. I gotta scroll back. The third guy who set a record, and this record I don't think is ever going to be broken. It's a National Football League record. It was set by Night Train Lane in 1952, who he's in the Hall of Fame, one of the best defensive players in the history of the sport. 14 interceptions in 12 games as a rookie, and nobody has had 14 receptions in a game since. And that's a 70-year-old record. 70 years, and it's going to go another 70 because no one's going to touch that. They keep making the seasons longer, but 14 in 12 games, that's just untouchable. So there you go. There's the answer to the trivia question. There's 3 that we know of. If you know of another one, send a message. Let us know. You can also subscribe and you can like. Well, hope you do. But the next show, we've got the University of Fantasy Football. And you don't want to miss that. That's a course on strategies by Dirty Landry. I'm CJ, and that is the Dirty Landry Report. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.